It is no secret that Brigitte is completely insane right now. She's basically a free one if you know what you're doing, so today I'm going to go over everything that you need to know about Brigitte. My name is Nate and welcome to Blizzard Guides. So I'm going to do this like my previous hero guide. I'm going to go over the mentality, some mechanics, and then positioning. There are going to be 3 mentality tips for Brig, and then 1 mechanic tip, and then 1 positioning tip. The mentality is how you should be thinking when you play, the mechanics are what you should be doing while you play, and the positioning is how you're going to be doing those things while you play. So basically it's the why, the what, and the how of the hero. Also, really quick before the video starts, be sure to check out our Twitter at Blizzard_guide so that you can get regular updates on the channel. But anyway, let's hop into this video. At number 5, we're going to talk about the mentality. Basically, Brigitte is a tank, support, and duelist wrapped into one. She's supposed to do a couple of things. First, you're protecting your main healer. Like any other off healer, you're going to stick to your main healer like glue, and ensure that they can stay alive and well throughout each fight so that they can heal up their team. However, with Brigitte, you're doing this in a slightly indirect manner. Instead of completely sticking physically right next to your main healer, you're also going to want to be very variable in your positioning, moving right next to your main healer and up to the front line. Ideally, your main healer is going to be playing aggressive with you either way, but in the event that she isn't, you want to play both positions depending on the threat. You can't heal without doing damage, so you have to be in the front line to do your healing, and you need to be in the back line with your support to actually protect them. Therefore, the first pillar of Brigitte's gameplay is Peel. Peel is basically protecting, creating space, blocking, healing, and stunning enemies to keep an ally from dying. If you peel for your Ana, you're going to be protecting her from damage. Brigitte has the innate ability to peel like crazy, so you can really control a map through sheer presence. If you're playing up with your tank, all you need to do is turn around every once in a while to make sure that your main healer is doing well, and E them if they're not, and you can basically peel from that distance. If you take an assessment of the damage that the enemy provides and take notice of their ability to move to location, you're going to be a significantly effective Brigitte. For example, if the enemy doesn't have a ton of range, you're going to want to play aggressively on the enemies that don't have range so that you can peel for your frontline and play up, as well as not being uselessly farmed for ult by the range of the enemy team. If they have a hyper-mobile comp like Genji, Doomfist, Tracer, or Sombra, playing back with your healer is going to be the move, so that they can continually heal while the enemy attempts to dive your supports. That is the first key component to playing Brigitte. At number 4, let's talk about the next pillar of playing Brigitte. You need to know how to create space with Brigitte. Your presence is feared as Brigitte, but you're not invincible. You need to know how to create space for your tanks. Brigitte has a knack for creating space for people, so if you play up with your tanks and focus on keeping threats away from them and keeping the enemy stuns and crowd control away from your tanks, you're going to allow them to play with the space that they need while they provide you with the protection that you need. So for example, let's say that the enemy team has a Reinhardt, a D.Va, a McCree, a Hanzo, and a Lucio and Ana. If the enemy team starts speeding in, if you stun the enemy Rein and push him back with your whip shot, you're going to force the enemy team to play much slower, and you're going to put the McCree and Lucio possibly in a vulnerable spot depending on their positioning. If they start trying to push up again without amp speed boost and you see the D.Va flying in, you can stun her out of her flight and force them to waste all of their abilities once again. If your tank starts taking a ton of damage, you can practically res them with your E that burst heals so much, and they're suddenly in a good shape and able to continue fighting. Creating space is a really easy and straightforward concept that allows your team to do what they need. Space, however, is a variable thing. So while in that specific situation it might have worked for the comp that you have, sometimes your team will need a different method of space. Let's say that your team has all very close range damage. Getting in and allowing your team to get to the enemies but not keeping the enemies away from your team is what you should be doing. If your team only has range, then playing up and forcing the enemies back so that your team doesn't get harassed by the enemy is a good idea. However, if that enemy has divey heroes, which inherently counter ranged heroes, then perhaps playing slightly back so that your ranged allies don't get insta-killed is a good idea. That's the general thought process when it comes to playing Brigitte: space. And finally, at number 3, the last pillar of playing Brigitte is sustainability. Brigitte basically never dies when she deals damage. Like I said, she's not invincible, but she's still really freaking hard to kill. You need to control space with Brig and constantly deal damage when fights are breaking out, making it extremely difficult for the enemy to consistently kill your allies. You're a brawler, so play like one, and keep focus on the enemies that can be whittled away and that can't really hurt you very much. If you do so, you're going to be a huge problem for the enemy to deal with, and you're going to be winning those games that actually may not seem winnable. Brigitte is a really good stall hero because she needs to be focused by the enemy team to get killed, and if you're in a lower rank, the enemies generally don't have very good focus. For this reason, you're able to single out enemies and kill them before they're able to actually fight back, and in the event that some damage dealer attempts to help out the person that you're killing, you're going to be healing yourself the entirety of the time. Make sure that you actually play and make use of this fact. Make sure that you actually make use of this fact and play up when you're able to actually get value. You're allowed to play aggressive because of the sustain, so by playing as a core component of your team and doing the first two steps, you're going to be able to sustain a ton and make use of that. You've got all of this damage, and on top of that, if you're getting focused a bit too much, you've got your shield that will allow you to stay alive for much longer than without. So to summarize, the three main things about Brigitte's playstyle are peeling, creating space, and sustaining the fight. So at number 2, let's get into some mechanics. First, I want to go into some kill combos. If the enemy has less than 150 HP, you can stun, flail, and whip shot to get a full kill. This works on Tracer and Baby Diva if they're full health. If you're fighting a 200 HP target, you can flail twice and then do the stun, flail, and whip shot combo. This will net an instant kill as well. You can do this in any order, but keep in mind that the enemy can't hit you when you do the stun, flail, whip shot combo, so you ideally want to land the 2 flails beforehand. Don't waste your stun on any movement if the fight is about to break out. That's something that way too many Brig players do in lower elos. In terms of who you should use that E ability on, I generally prioritize my tanks and my supports first and foremost, so if my main healer is low and my DPS is low, I'll usually always heal my main healer. If your tank is in immediate danger and your main healer is low, healing your tank so that he can protect the main healer so that she can heal herself is the move. Basically, it's a combination of recognizing the necessity of an ally that is alive, and then also the threat that is posing and threatening their will to be alive. If your main healer isn't going to die in that moment, but your tank is, just heal your tank. If your tank is fine and your DPS is low and your main healer is low, your main healer is more important and can heal the DPS for a cheaper price than healing yourself typically. Brig doesn't have many in-depth mechanics, so this is a bit of a shorter section. But anyway, finally at number 1, we're going to go into positioning. I've already covered this section a bit in the previous points, so I'm going to go over general positioning before, during, and after the team fight. Before the fight, you should be going where the damage will be going. If the enemy is going to dive in, play back. If the enemy is going to travel across the ground, playing up if your team needs it or back if your team needs it is going to be what you want to do. If the enemy is slow moving, you want to play up with your team and in the front line. During the fight, you want to just be the core of the fight, playing right in the middle of your team, dealing constant damage and being as annoying as possible. Play closer to your healers or your tanks, but also always be aware of the one that you're not with and their HP. If they start getting attacked, try and heal them first, and if you think that they will need it, go to them if they keep getting attacked. Finally, at the end of the team fight, you're just going to want to be wary of leaving your support in case that they get staggered, but you're more allowed to play aggressive and reposition and try and get that last person that's alive. You just need to be mindful of any stragglers that are trying to get a cheeky pick after you've already won the fight. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you enjoyed this video in the comments down below and why you enjoyed it, and also feel free to drop a like. And if you dislike this video, be sure to let me know why in the comments down below so that I can constantly improve these videos. If you want to join the Blizzard Guides community, be sure to check out our Discord in the link in the description, follow our Instagram at overwatch.guides, and follow our Twitter at blizzard_guides. If you want to see more of our tips and tricks content or our Twitch weekly highlight videos, you can get subscribed and notified so that you never miss one of our uploads. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. My name is Nate, and this was Blizzard Guides.